All right, welcome back. This is the next project. It is a 1990 50th anniversary 379 short hood, 50th anniversary being 1989. Has a 4 1/4 cat, 15 speed, 355 rear ends on taller rubber, air track suspension, 258 wheelbase. It's not exactly a survivor. It has some damage to the front corner here. Might need a new hood someday. But it's one of the rarest Peterbilts you will ever find, and as a bonus 63 stand-up to match the 359, they'll make a nice little pair. The hood doesn't close quite properly, takes a bit of messing around. And the paint for this 50th anniversary design is a little bit bad. This is actually vinyl wrapped. The rest of the truck is a gold painted stripe with the red painted over the gold. The hood, for some reason, they went with a vinyl wrap. Yeah, another interesting thing to notice is these Peterbilt emblems are golden red. It's a little bit faded now, hard to see, but they're golden red everywhere on the truck, inside and out. Steering box has been replaced and the shocks have been replaced at some point. Very, very clean frame. This truck is out of Florida. There is basically no corrosion. I haven't looked everywhere on the cab, but it has a aluminum windshield mask, which is what they were back before the Unibuilt days when they put the steel in there. So it's 100% aluminum, other than these cans are steel. I don't believe these to be the original air cleaner cans. I think they should be stainless. It's got a lot of yellow paint in behind here, which the whole cab has yellow paint up here and there. You can see it's chipped through, but it's not the same. This is like a cat yellow, whereas there's just a lot of gold shining through. So they must have painted a really wide gold stripe on these trucks. Bit of damage here, cracked sill. It'll need the stainless hinges. These boxes aren't great, but at least these are easy to find. Exhaust is complete garbage, but we're not too worried about that. See the bottom of the bunk, not much corrosion there at all. This tank is garbage. It is not an original tank either. The rims and the passenger side fuel tank are all 1989. This tank is whatever. And this door will have to get reskinned if we ever repaint it as well. But there's the detail on the 50th anniversary. 50 years of class, 1939 to 1989. We might just get those redone and put on. At this point we're going to clean it up best we can just for fun. And then someday it'll need an actual paint job, but we'll see how good we can get it to look. I know it's too far gone to be even considered patina. These fairings, I didn't know until looking at this truck, and I considered myself to know a thing or two about Pete's. These bunk fairings, you see this cut is completely different than what you're used to seeing on a Pete, and the grab handles at the back of the fairings, completely original. And I also thought these fairings were bent. They're not. There's a identical bend in them on both sides, from that second rivet down to this corner here. They have been sprung a little bit. They're not perfect, but I've never actually seen these early fairings up close and personal. It did have the big bird whacker up top. That's not going back on. There's no point in having those big steel brackets on the roof getting all rusty and streaking your paint. Like you can see there, it's already started to streak. I don't like that. Back of the bunk is pretty clean. These are the old fairing brackets here, completely different than your kind of white metal whatever U-shaped brackets on the newer ones. 2 rear bunk lights. Might have one glad hand dent there. Serial number matches, obviously. 258 wheelbase, like I said before. This back end needs cut off and the rear cross member put back on. It was on a farm and they were kind of messing around with wagons, and that's too bad. But front drive has been replaced. Rear one looks original. Corrosion behind these, that'll have to get pulled off and cleared out, but that's a fairly simple process. And of course we're gonna have to crown everything on this frame really good. Steps on both sides. Original 150 here. September of 89 on the tanks, August of 89 on all 10 rims. Apart from the hood damage, it is quite straight. And it might actually be a good thing that it had the bird whacker on, because The 359, we had to reinforce the front of the bunk. It was letting water in. And this one already has a plate that runs across because of, or maybe not across, but it reinforces because of the bird whacker. So when we go and remove the bird whacker stuff, we can leave that bracket on, maybe cut it down a little bit, and we won't have those front of the bunk problems like the early stand-ups did. Dual spotlights. I don't believe this side had a pocket on it. The driver's side does. Bostrom suspension on these seats. They are the old Pete seats and really filthy. There's going to be a lot of scrubbing goes into this one. Of course, this is back when Pete was struggling to find their class and black steel door latches. Although it does have chrome gauge bezels, which is kind of, for 1990, that's not a given that you'd have shiny gauge bezels. They kind of had some rough years there. They kind of lost their appeal for a bit, interior-wise. And I have a 2022, and the interior in that one isn't up to much either, unfortunately. Mechanically, this truck seems pretty good, so we'll not have to deal with a lot of the issues that we had on the 359. Bottom of the door is pretty good. There might just be a hint of corrosion here and here. I'm going to see if it'll crank up, but I'm pretty sure I'll need to boost it. Now this you do not see very often. This is the expensive interior before they came out with the class interiors. I've seen a few trucks with this, but it is not very often you will see that. It needs lower dash plastics in a bad way. The wiring is an absolute horror show. Has the original seats, but they are pretty rough. And everything in here is quite dirty. Dash is cracked right there. Missing the passenger side interior lights. Well, it's got some life to it. Alright, there's only 3 batteries in it. There's the 50th anniversary badge. Another interesting thing about the 50th anniversary is all of the Peterbilt badging on the inside and outside of the truck is gold. The cable for the cruise control isn't working right now, and most of the gauges are dead. This thing has sat for at least a decade. Has this velour type interior. Of course, it's a small hole, being a 90. This was kind of interesting, the speakers down here. Usually that's where your HVAC system would be. Has the wooden covers here. They're actually spongy and soft. It's kind of weird. Usually you would see these in gray. The 359 there wood grain. So it's kind of a neat that this one's also wood grain. This bunk and the 359 bunk are extremely similar, except for maybe this, where your seatbelt clips are. And the 359, these would all look brushed, a brushed copper, whereas these are black. But beyond that, this is very much the same. Even has the old door cover. Again, the detail on this interior I really dig. I'm a big fan of red. I absolutely love red interiors. The one light bulb cover melted off of here. And this stuff is actually cloth here above the bunk entrance. These cabinets are in pretty good shape, except the snaps have ripped through these covers. And these covers are actually vinyl. On the Canadian class, they're cloth. But just look at that interior. And then this is actually black. That is unique. Black vinyl here with the correct padding on it. Oil pressure when the oil's hot is still about 55 psi at idle. It also has a single engine brake switch. And I'm not sure if you can read it, but this switch is actually ether aid. Factory right there says ether. Oh, that's pretty much run of the mill. Of course, it has the sliding controls. This doesn't change till 96. It's tough, but it's going to be an absolute beauty once it's all redone. And I really can't wait. I'm a big 359 guy, but I would definitely roll around in this thing. It's absolutely cool. Anyway, we'll get to it. Thanks for watching.